It's not just Toyota, so why is GM's big recall just a big old yawn in Washington? What do you think the difference could be? One word, unions. One other word, beholden. And for Toyota, one very big problem. Not politicians, women. They're not buying the company's line. What's worse for Toyota, they're not buying the company's cars. Well, gee, not a Washington word on GM. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and here is the deal. General Motors recalls 1.3 million compact cars. And for the life of me today, I don't recall anyone in Washington demanding answers today. No call for investigations. No orders to get hearings pronto. The same politicians who didn't spare a nanosecond demanding the head of Toyota get his sorry recalling butt to Washington so he could answer their questions didn't sear any of that rage at GM today. Night and day, I know, but especially after GM acknowledged a steering issue with more than 1 million of its cars late yesterday. I mean, it's not as if this is not a big deal in and of itself. We're talking 1.3 million compact cars sold in North America over the last 5 years, including 2005 through 10 Chevrolet Cobalts, 2007 through 10 Pontiac G5s, and for good measure, a smattering of Pontiac Pursuits sold in Canada and Pontiac G4s sold in Mexico. Fair is fair. After all, you would think that Washington would practice being fair and balanced to all. No. Isn't it odd that the company rescued by the government doesn't get so much as a slap on the wrist by the government, or that the company virtually completely unionized doesn't get nearly the browbeating the foreign company almost completely non-unionized does? I say if you grill one, you grill them all. Otherwise, Congress looks like the very lemons they blast. Every bit the stinker, every bit more the clunker. So where is the outrage here? My next guest wonders, too. A lot of his constituents work at Toyota plants in the state he governs, and a lot hinges on a plant soon to be there as well. With us now, the Mississippi governor on the phone, Haley Barbour. Governor, so you think this is selective rage?
Well, Neil, look, there's no question that there's been an enormous difference in the reaction, as you said. And I think that what we ought to realize is all the car companies have recalls. The idea, I think, about the initial reaction to Toyota's recall is that Toyota's reputation, almost emblematic of quality, when they had a significant recall, it was kind of like a man bites dog story. But you're right. When some people, in the Congress particularly, looked like they were totally in collusion with the plaintiffs' lawyers, I warned, and I'm not trying to single out anybody, but I warned that those congressional hearings had the potential to look like here is the American government, which owns most of General Motors and a chunk of Chrysler, was taking sides. We shouldn't take sides, and I don't take sides on General Motors having a recall. Car companies have recalls. In fact, in the last, 10 or 12 years, Toyota is 17th among 19 car companies in the number of cars that they've recalled based on their market share.
You're quite right, Governor. My issue isn't here whether Toyota got its comeuppance and should have been dragged into Washington or not. I just think what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. And now there are a lot of GM supporters who tell me, well, yeah, but our cars haven't killed anyone. That we know of is what I always say. My only point is, look, let's not get silly about it. If you want to say that dragging all the Toyota executives here for what was some kabuki theater was a bit of overkill, then maybe going nasty on GM would be overkill. But you got to be consistent, and what I see in Washington is anything but.
Well, if you're going to be the regulator, and the federal government is the regulator under our laws, NHTSA, and I think, frankly, that they've done they have tried harder to be fair than they get credit for. I think Ray LaHood's a fair and honorable guy, but early on, some things that got said that shouldn't have got said. But you're right, piling on is not the right thing for anybody. It's not the right thing to pile on for General Motors or Chrysler or anybody else. What I do think is critical here, Toyota, more than any car company I've ever seen, bent over backwards. I mean, they called in cars, they recalled cars that had never had a problem. They called it. They made the broadest, most sweeping effort because they were trying to be fair to their customers, and they were trying to demonstrate, look, we don't have this happen to us much, but now that it's happened to us, we're going to take it really, really, really seriously, including closing down plants. By the way, without laying anybody off, nobody missed work. But I thought that was to be commended, not to be shot at.
Not in this environment, Governor. Governor Haley Barbour, always great having you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Neil. Bye-bye.
All right, now fair and balanced, something Congress would be wise to follow. By the way, the lady who says that the GM recall isn't remotely analogous to the Toyota recalls. With me now, the car coach, Lauren Fix. And Lauren, I'm not here to grade recalls here. What I am saying, though, is I know quite as a lot of GM fans are telling me this didn't involve deaths, but I'm saying that not a one with better than a million cars recall calling for at least, I don't know, a token hearing into this. I just find it inconsistent, but go ahead.
Well, it is. Well, I hear your inconsistencies, and a regulator has to be someone that's equal and fair. And I don't think we're always equal and fair in this industry as a whole. But remember, every car manufacturer has had a recall. Ford's had problems. They usually jump on it. I think the problem you're seeing here with General Motors today is they have a problem that makes sense. A part wears, and there's going to be a problem, and you're going to have trouble steering. Maybe you'll have an accident. You know, maybe someone who does not as strong as another person might be used to power steering, but it's not a car accelerating out of control.
Lauren,
it's not brakes totally failing. That's
Lauren,
serious.
I know you're the car expert, but as you know, I play well on TV. So let me ask you this. Would they have done a recall to this degree and to this number if there wasn't all this, you know what, over Toyota?
Well, I think that you have to look at everything relatively. The thing with Toyota is a little different. You had two ex-Transportation Department employees that are now working for Toyota that know the ropes and know how to work around the system. They were the ones that were the liaison between Toyota and the U.S. government. So that is partly why I think there was maybe sort of, we say the rug was pulled out from under us when it comes to the floor mats. Pardon the pun, but I say that I don't know if that was not too bad.
But you're saying that there is a difference here, just to be clear. I'm sorry we're rushed here, but there is a difference, and they're not comparable.
No, there is a serious difference. I think when they're looking at floor mats, seeming that that's the problem, yes, Toyota did the right thing when they were able to convince the government that that was the problem. But now that it's so much more, now they're basically eating crow and they're losing sales because of it. They will come back around. They're not going out of business. They're not looking to hurt anyone. They're looking to make money. They're a business. Now, in General Motors' case, they've had recalls as Ford, Kia, Honda, Audi, everybody. Every manufacturer's had a recall. Right. And the secret is to say, listen, we got a problem. We're going to get it fixed. The longer you wait, the worse it is.
All right, Lauren Fix, wise words. Lauren joining me out of Buffalo tonight. Thanks, young lady.